Cool. We'll kind of get started. I'm Alicia and this is Shad. Some of you guys might have met Shad or I've talked about him a lot. He's my fiance and partner. We did everything together. So I'm really excited to have him on here tonight. He's the left side of the brain of the operations for everything. So lots of questions you guys have, he'll be super helpful for. But
I went 9 years almost in this, give or take, avoiding the camera, but she's pretty much wrangled me in now. There's no turning back.
I said, you're on camera now.
We got the podcast and yeah, she's maximizing it. But no, it's been a fun ride. And it's funny, a lot of the names that are coming in here, you guys have probably never seen me, but I'm like, I've either been in the back of the meeting somewhere or like with our traveling or we're talking through everything. So it's always been,
he knows all
it's
your
been
guys'
fun.
names. For sure. Well, cool. We're getting everyone situated. Oh, more people. Here we go. Thank you guys so much for your time tonight. We hope to make it really worth your time, answer your guys' questions. As people are jumping in, we'll kind of explain why we're doing this, what we're up to. Some of you guys might know us and our backstory, but Shad and I started our business Live Infinitely in 2014. We built that to 8 figures and then sold it in 2021. And since selling it, we've just been helping business owners scale either through communities, Shad's an Amazon genius, just kind of different things that we've been doing over the past few years that have been very fulfilling for us. And so since doing that, what we found is we find a lot of fulfillment in helping business owners create meaningful businesses of impact and therefore a life of impact, because when you create something that not only like helps other people in your life, it's very fulfilling, but also financially that's very fulfilling, and you can make the impact you want to make in the world. So that's why we launched our new platform of impact, and the goal is to just help provide anything we can, resources, education, tools to help entrepreneurs create their own businesses of impact. And so is there anything I might have missed on that?
Yeah, it's been, like I said, 9 years of education and learning to get to the point where we are now, almost 10. But then, so we kind of took a little time after we exited and then we got back in. We actually have equity in another brand again. So we're very, very active, multiple clients. And then the advisor, the broker that actually sold our business, we've stayed in very close relationship and very close touch with him. So it's kind of all culminated in of impact and impact advisors. So he came on board. So now like what we launched, we actually have a full service entire entity now where essentially from the start to the growth phase clear to the exit phase, we can do it all under one roof. So we just recorded our podcast with him yesterday, and he'll start to become much more of a face you guys will see if you follow us and stuff. But we're excited because it's always been a space that we've enjoyed being in, but really hate to give his resume out, but when you see it, it's like we couldn't feel luckier to have partnered with him and really to go through this. So
yeah, exactly. Forget about the advisor side, but that's definitely one of the coolest sides, because selling our business was for us one of the biggest days of our life. So exactly what Shad said, helping people start, scale, and then exit eventually is really where we can help. But yeah, just a heads up for everybody, we are recording this. So as we go through your questions, we can talk, unmute yourself and we can have a conversation. So if there's anything that you guys don't want public, feel free to still talk, but we'll cut it out. If there's something like you guys want to keep private just within this call today, we definitely will respect that privacy. So just let us know, but I just want to let you know that it is recorded. And then yeah, we'll hope that this is just a super chill call. So we got your guys' list of questions and we'll try to go through them the best we can, but we'll have, open up your guys' mics and let's just like kind of chat. That's the goal.
I guess we should ask first, but you guys can hear us all good, right? We're not like, thank you.
Yeah.
Just sit there. Pre-warning too, there's our Great Dane's laying on the floor behind us, and it's about his go time. It's about time to get his energy. So he might just pop on screen randomly. You just never know.
Yeah, he'll definitely pop on screen. So just expect that here soon. I know I talked to Rob about him, our big Great Dane for sure. So anyways, we'll get started with our questions here. I see Dan, you're here. What's up, Dan? Dan been one of our great friends and clients of the past. I know you had a question on paid traffic and making it profitable. Is there anything in specific that, we can help you with that?
I guess, thanks, by the way. Good to chat to you guys again. Hope all is well and wild. It's one of those things, like I've been talking to other brands and, I've dabbled in it over the last 12 months or so. And it's like, we just haven't been able to scale. So I'm curious, is it more of like, and we've talked about this in the past, but is it really more and more shifting towards that, like get someone in the door and then you're really doing more of a lifetime value play? Is that kind of what you're seeing be the most successful?
No, it's a really, really great question. And for a long time, a majority of our clients, that was kind of the play. We knew like that we had, this was their lifetime value of a customer. So we could spend this much and acquire them and scale the brand. And that's really like how we've been working with some clients. But recently with our new brand that we're working on, we're actually, that was like, it's been exciting because this brand we're scaling profitably. And so that's been really cool to see in the post iOS world. And it really came down to messaging. Like that's been a big thing for us that we've really taken some time, like really diving into the differentiator of our products, and like more specifically like the Facebook algorithm, because you're talking about paid ads on Facebook, correct, Dan? Okay, just wanted to clarify. Essentially it works in like the sense of like you outbid your competitors and you can spend more when the algorithm like looks at it as like value based, like are you getting good engagement, like good feedback on your ads plus conversion. And then those two metrics Facebook looks at a lot. So that's why it's really important to get your messaging down, because when your messaging is down, then you're getting better feedback on your ads, more people to engage, more people to click, and ultimately you can outbid people and scale. And that's really what we found recently with our Facebook campaigns. We essentially set up a bunch of tests. I'd love to go through it with you one day, where we tested the pains of our customers, in a purchase objective campaign. Without getting too complex here, a purchase objective campaign, we just tested the pains. That's it. What are people going through, seeing what resonated most, and kind of looking at those metrics of who's clicking and engaging with those pains. Then we tested the benefits that our customers might be looking at and seeing what resonated the most, combining our pain and benefit, and then what obstacles or challenges were stopping them. And with these three combinations, we were able to kind of pinpoint exactly who we were going for and create like a messaging that differentiated our brand and resonated with more people. And so these ads and these campaigns we've been running with have been really profitable. And we're kind of moving that into all of our clients now, where it's not always going to be the case for every brand though, because there is still a sense of having a decent margin to work with. You have to have a good margin. And if you don't, then the biggest thing to do is like kind of build up your offer so you can have a margin to work with. But it really came down for us to be able to like turn a profit with Facebook post iOS. It really came down to fine tuning that messaging so that we are really speaking to the right people. But Barry, I don't want to get like too complex about like kind of showing you exactly how that works, but does that make sense? Or do you have any questions on what I might mean by that?
Oh, totally. No, it makes sense. Is there, I guess, as far as like you're talking about the margin, is there a margin percentage or kind of like a CAC cost that you're seeing that's kind of that sweet spot, if that makes sense? Like, do you need 80% margin, or can you have something where, or you could look at it as like, well, I can spend, $70 to acquire a customer, or do you look at both?
I think primarily it's more dollar based, because
Okay.
you can have a $10 item that has a really, really high margin, but you're not going to have enough to really spend what you're going to need to spend to make it profitable on the top. Or there's kind of different avenues there. So like if it's a recurring product, if it's something that once you get them hooked on and they'll, can continue to consume, that's a whole different, you're going to approach that differently. So it's kind of, it always comes down to the dollar amount though, because you spend in ads in dollars, you want the percentage, but there are items that we've seen that are very high margin, but they're just so low price that they make great upsells or, in the funnel somewhere, but they're just not your acquisition product. With the brand that we have, it like doing this, it changed the landing page. It changed everything. We thought we knew the customer. We thought we knew who we were selling to, but like legitimately through that process, we changed the age range that we were targeting, like that we were selling to. We changed the landing page. We changed everything, all based off of this one, like finding the actual reason why people were buying, not what we thought. Like, and us, we vetted it, we tried and we planned our customer, but then who actually was, punching in their credit card information, we're like, whoa, this is not at all what we thought, to the point where like we've been pre-selling it and our next container is pretty much sold out. It's not even here.
Oh, wow. Good
And
for
we
you guys.
thought, we almost turned ads off when that happened, because we're like, nobody's going to buy the pre-sale, it's not gonna, it'll kill conversion. And that was like the day that we went from in stock to pre-sell, I think was our best day ever for that brand. It just like it took off. So it was really,
that was that light bulb moment, because I've always known messaging and your differentiator like matters, communities and building out the thing that is unique to you beyond everyone else. I knew that mattered, but really when we took that time to go through like this testing process on like a deeper level, it was like, oh my gosh. Because then not only did it like help our ads perform better, but just like Shad said, then we changed all of our landing pages to reflect this new messaging that resonates with the true pains customers are going through, the true benefits that they're after, and the true challenges that they're facing, without like our biased assumptions. And then we'll change our landing pages to do that, your email marketing changes to do that, and then your challenges change to do that. Like you then pick out weekly challenges or change your community to help people overcome, get the benefit they want, removing those challenges. So it was just like a night and day difference. And we've done exercises like this in the past where but then you eventually, like you somehow as a business owner, you make assumptions. You're like, oh, this is my customer. We all do it. You know, like you think like this is who's going to buy my products. And I think, Dan, you and I even realized that with your company, like we were realizing that we're finding a lot of women, you know, buying your products. And you're like, I originally thought it was more men, outdoor men, but then you're kind of seeing that. So by running these kind of tests, you're able to just put it out there and what's resonating, and that's what you go off of, even if you think it's not what you thought initially.
2 follow-up things on that. It was like what we were doing before was making sales. Like it wasn't like wasn't making any sales, but we kind of like put our bias aside and said, okay, we're opening this up to anybody and anything, and then narrowed in on that message kind of like through the testing. So that cut the cost per acquisition drastically, because we were making sales to what we thought we were selling to, but at a much higher, you know, maybe $100 per or $70 per customer higher than what we are now. And like all the stuff we said, but it pivoted the entire brand, because like our accessories that we're making got restacked in priority, because now we're saying, okay, our conversion rate is much higher with this group of people. This is the kind of accessories they need too. This is kind of like our next, this is product 2, 3, 4. Like it legitimately in the course of, and it sounds bullshit, I get it, but it like within the course of a weekend, it pivoted the brand. Like we entirely pivoted the brand. It was truthfully, and I think it's every single brand that we've done that with. Maybe they're not as drastic of a pivot where you're changing your entire product line, but it's made a difference. Every brand we've done it with, their acquisition offer has changed. I mean, the front end stuff has all changed, because it's like, this is what's doing it more profitably and has a better conversion. It's easier to target. Like it's really
It's way too technical to really break down on this call, but the big picture thing to take away is, you know, really figuring out your messaging. You know, what are those pains, benefits, and challenges that your customers are truly going through? You can test that through Facebook ads using the purchase objective. The technicality of setting that up, like, is for a whole nother day, but because it's, you know, you just test through all of it. But the big picture thing to take away is like, is your messaging on point? Are you resonating with the right people? Because when you do, you get more people to engage and more people to convert. And when that happens, Facebook sees that you are a successful ad or a successful campaign, and you can win auctions because you're getting the engagement that Facebook wants to see.
Interesting. Can I repeat that back just to make sure I understand correctly? So it's like, what I'm hearing is, instead of you as a brand saying, I know my customer, this is who they are, and in writing the messaging with that, you're kind of doing the inverse, where you're putting different ideas out in the world. You're seeing like literally what's responded to via data from Facebook and purchases, and then you're essentially recrafting the message based on what's performing best. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not even one thing I'll inject there. It's not even the data based on purchases. It's just like, it's the interaction with the ad and various things. So like the message starts this way and it keeps getting crafted, tweaked. Do you finally, like, you resolve what you want that to be, and you're not even concerned about landing pages or conversion rate, stuff like that. You're really getting that messaging on point. Then you move to that next step, but you're making sales along the way, but that's not your primary objective. Your primary objective is the correct interaction with the messaging. And then it answers your questions for you on what they're really, why they would buy your product, what solution they're trying to solve.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
yeah,
I can see this. We have an hour.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, no, thanks guys. We appreciate you going deep.
We can talk forever, but I'm sure that's helpful to everybody at least. So
no,
which one?
Great question. No, that's like the biggest question, I feel like, for sure. So it's good that we address that. Okay, cool. Thank you, Dan. Who do we have on here that we have a question? Rob, how are you doing, Rob? I know we had a question from you. You asked what to focus on now to sell. What is the end in mind, the North Star? Are you looking to exit?
Yeah, I think eventually for sure we would be open to that. You know, picking the right products to bundle, generate a higher average order value. We've had success. We're having success with what we learned with you on those groups.
Great.
Yeah, and I've got a great person running that.
That's so
And
cool.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, we'll have to
And
catch up sometime on that.
totally. So yeah, and I'm just here I'm more curious to see what the journey looks like with what you've put together. And there's a lot of these things. There's a lot of these accelerators. I've been in Techstars. I've been done stuff with Grant Cardone. Like, are you familiar with Cardone Ventures?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, all those things, but really it's a matter of like what you feel comfortable in, what environment, like what vibe you want to have. Like there's a lot of similar threads through all these.
Mhm.
So, I'm more here for the vibe, more like just kind of seeing how you guys, I'm new to you guys and I like what I see so far. So I want to learn more about what it is you have in the future and have in store.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you want to.
Yeah, what we kind of how when we started this, or even our first like real like brand takeover client that we've done, it's always been what made us different and where we went through is like we ran our warehouse, we did everything. So like there wasn't one aspect of our business we didn't do up until the day we sold almost. Some of that was necessity because we made poor product decisions, or you're getting started, right? And so you learn what's important in product selection and all that. But then it's also given us that ability, one, to understand every facet of the business, but two, like that's just how we work. Like literally we're sitting here side by side, but we work when we travel together, like we've just always worked so well. And we realized that like we don't ever want to have an agency where it's like a client where you just like kind of bring them in and you assign that to somebody. We don't do a whole lot of brands at one time, but when we do, we focus on it, and it's that entire like Sunday night at midnight, they can call us and we're fixing something, or we're doing what we need to do. But yeah, I guess that we never even really thought of an accelerator or anything like that. Kind of like one of the biggest reasons why we pieced this all together is when we went to exit, we had been doing Facebook ads at the community. We had been doing full speed ahead to everything. And we thought, well, we're going to get with a broker and they're going to help us get to that next level. Like we had a valuation in mind that we were going for. And a lot of the places we met with, they act like that's the case, but then you talk to like for 5 minutes and you realize, oh, you have no idea what you're talking about with Facebook ads. Like they'll sell your business for you, but you're a transaction, you're just another number. And so that was why we ended up going with the broker we did, is only because the personability and his experience. So there, but then after we exited, we're like, that would be cool if we could bridge that gap, because we understand that like we've been through that. And I don't know if she said it to you guys or not, but it's probably like 18 months where we started like, hey, we want to sell this thing. Where are we and where do we want to get to? So, and then we had like monthly meetings and check-in, and it wasn't ever strategizing it. It wasn't ever doing that. So that's kind of like, in a perfect world, if we would set up our ideal goal, it's like you get to know that person and you build it through, because there's nothing more rewarding, in our opinion at least, of exiting a business, because it gives you your freedom, it gives you the finances, and like so many businesses, the biggest payday is your exit. It's not like running it year over year. So we really kind of wanted to bring our expertise to that space. So whether it's a retail business, like, or Amazon or Shopify or wherever it's at, where it's kind of morphing the plan to that. Like what we found is every brand that gets even approaching that level, they're doing some things right. Like they wouldn't be on that call if they weren't being successful in some way, shape, or form. It's not to come in and take all that over. It's to look of where we can fill the gaps. Like, okay, yeah, you're doing really, really good on Facebook, but your Amazon is being neglected. And the 80-20 rule comes into play there, where you're going to see that stuff when you're auditing it from the outside. So that's where we can fill in if that's what we're doing, to help on those areas that maybe you don't have a staff for, or you don't have, even just the knowledge of, really.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things though, for like, if whatever it is, if you're ever going to exit, it's really planning that out well ahead of time, because your valuation is going to be drastically varied by what kind of customer you have, if it's recurring, your return rate, the products, where they're made, how they're made, and just even the ability to replace the founder. So like we were just very small, and it was us primarily and maybe a couple employees, but we had to really work towards the end to get it where we could turn it over to somebody else. And if we would have started that earlier, it would have been a lot better thing for us. We just we didn't know that. That's the things we've learned going through. But so it's kind of where we saw a need because it wasn't there when we needed it. So that's kind of where we are hoping to fill in there.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions on that or anything in particular there?
Was that for me?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know if you had any
Sorry.
follow up. No, you're good. You're good.
No, I just assumed it was for everybody. Well, no, I'm gonna just listen more. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm curious. Yeah, thank you though.
Very cool. Yeah, thanks so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Very, very cool. Awesome. Let's see, who do we have? We got questions to answer. I know Carolina. How are you, Carolina? Which one was her question? She's here. Selling on Amazon. I know you had some questions on selling on Amazon. First of all, hey, it's good to see you again. I hope you're doing well. Hi. What kind of questions? Shad's the Amazon expert here, so I'll let him take over, but how can we help you there?
I don't know. I guess I'm just curious, like same as Rob, I feel that I'm just curious to see what your guys' offerings will be, where to see what we could jump into. And basically I feel like we would benefit from being on Amazon. And since you've already like killed at it, like why start from zero, right? Where we could same thing as like if we start on the right foot, it's just gonna save us time over time.
Absolutely.
You know, like what you just mentioned about like being replaceable, all that, you know, like finding like the simple way to scale without making mistakes, you know, in the beginning.
There's a
Okay.
absolutely 100% makes sense, and it's with Amazon in particular, and kind of what we're offering. So there's going to be different courses. There's going to be education on like Amazon and email, and we're kind of really kind of building all this out. Some of it is to see what people are interested in. Truthfully, ideally, we would like to, get to the point where we have experts in every topic who has the course in there and where they're all available. It's not like you have to buy every single individual course. It's kind of like a little education hub of either stuff that we've done or people have. But as far as selling on Amazon goes, there's kind of two big, this is with sales and anything, there's kind of like display and search. So where people don't know they need your product, but you get it in front of them and then like, wow, that looks really cool. So Amazon's not great for that because it's all search based. So, depending on what you're selling, you have to like kind of weigh that need. But even if it is display kind of marketing that you're doing and you're doing off Amazon, so Facebook, Google, anything like that, it is a 100% guarantee that people will go to Amazon to try to validate your brand. Even if they're not, I do it, we all do it. There's Prime. So there's product that is very, very profitable on Amazon, and it makes the most sense to live and sell on Amazon. And then there's stuff that it doesn't make sense for, like, you expect Amazon to be your number one channel, but it's kind of a different shopping cart, if you will. Like, even if you don't run a bunch of advertising on Amazon, it makes sense to be there, get some reviews, because there's a percentage of people out there that will not purchase from a brand that's not on Amazon, because then they don't trust it. They think it's like, coming direct from China, or it's a drop ship, or it's a scam, or whatever it may be. So, and really kind of looking at the brand as a whole, you have to look at it, understand the product, understand the search demand for it on Amazon, and then kind of build your marketing plan to that. So if it's really heavy on Amazon, then your website kind of becomes your supporting actor, if you will, where your ad spend would lean heavier on Amazon, because that's going to be your acquisition channel. But then where you're really going to profit from them is on Amazon, or I'm sorry, on your website. But then there's the flip side as well. And the last kind of concept there that it kind of blends the two of them is, which we're seeing actually pretty good success with it. And it's kind of genius. I truthfully, I don't know why we never did it before, but is Google Ads to your Amazon storefront. So Amazon, your storefront, and I recently actually realized this, changed it, and it's going well. But the storefronts, if you have a brand on Amazon, you go on there and you look and you say view store. Amazon put those out at the intention of keeping the concept of Amazon, which you search a query, you see a bunch of products across that. People kind of did that wrong, and they tried to go really heavy in design and make it a little website. And they were actually thoroughly not impressed with the results of it. What really works there is to replicate the feel of Amazon on that page. And that's where you can run direct Google traffic over. And then you're not competing against 20 or 30 other products on that page one, where you are page one, your entire product is. So when we pieced that together and found that, and started running Google search over to it there is software now that you can actually track the results. That's a really, really good way to go onto Amazon. If you're not there now, if you don't have any reviews, and if you're not page one high in the volume, it's kind of like you're getting the trust from the customer than Amazon lens, but you're narrowing it down so they're only seeing your product.
Wow, that's brilliant.
So it made the Amazon pages so much easier to build because you don't have to have a designer and you don't have to go like full build into this website there. It's really game changer. There's a couple brands out there that do a really good job with that. And it's so simple that it's so simple that you're like, why didn't I think of that earlier? But once you actually see it, and then of course, by doing that, that helps all your Amazon ranking on all your keywords. And it's rising tide lifts all boats kind of concept.
Wow, that's super cool.
So
I know for you, with your products being handmade, inventory would be like a key thing to make sure, because Amazon is very like volume based. So making sure like you do like send in a good amount at a time to sustain volumes so that you can rank for keywords. And so however, with your like operational side of things, like getting a good amount of inventory to send in is helpful to have that.
you can also, with a handmade, you can test like fulfilled by merchant. Generally that's a conversion killer. But on smaller or more like boutique items, it can work because like if it's a handmade item and it's just the shopping, like the trust aspect of it, we've always done volume-based products on Amazon. Like we sold water bottles and you had to just crank out volume. You weren't concerned about margin as much as you were concerned about volume. But for handmade, there is a way that you can do that fulfilled by merchant. It may not have the high volume, but in that style business, if it's handmade, you're not looking for volume. You're looking, you're not trying to sell 100 units a day realistically. You're just trying to like grow your brand. And maybe if you're running Facebook ads and they see you on Amazon, then it's a trust aspect that you get from that. Maybe it's not even a sale, but the fact that you are on Amazon lends credence to the brand. Or maybe they'll say, okay, well, I will buy from their website. But
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we are handmade, but we outsource a bunch. Like when we have Facebook ads running to a product, we don't like make the stuff here. It would be impossible. So we have a bunch of them made ahead of time of what's going to have ads pointed.
That's smart. That's good.
You'll notice every brand we've ever worked on, you notice a 100% correlation between your Facebook spend that day and your sales on Amazon. Like it's
insane.
There is no doubt in my mind. I know we kind of like split a lot of times. I'm really heavy Amazon stuff. She's really heavy Facebook. We kind of work together in certain things, or we're always in the same office, but we really kind of log in on certain things. But I know what she spent on a brand by what our Amazon sales were. Because I know exactly, I mean, within, a few $100s for that particular brand, just because I know the brand so well, and there's no doubt in my mind.
Direct correlation.
I see what I'm spending in Amazon. I say, oh, I bet we spent $2,000 today on that brand or $3,000. And it's, you look and it's 28, 27. We've tested it time and time and time again, and there's no way around it.
So people are looking at you on Facebook and finding you on Facebook, looking for you on Amazon.
Yep, it's the first thing I do it, and there's everything I buy. The first thing I do is go to Amazon. We live like in Central Florida, and there's things we can have delivered in 4 hours. So like, yeah, I know the brand's gonna make less money, but if it can be here, dog toys, right? If the dude back here is all riled up and he needs treats or he needs something, and I can have them in a few hours, I'm going to go look at that brand on Amazon. And if I can't find that brand on Amazon, the first thing I do is start looking to similar items. And maybe saying, okay, well, yeah, that's not the brand I initially saw the ad for, but it looks like it's comparable. It's, natural, or it's whatever I'm going after. That we frisbee golf, and I do that all the time. I'll see a video on a disc. I was like, oh, that looks like a cool, I want to try that one. Go to Amazon, it's not there. I'll buy a different disc that has the same numbers, the same flight path on it.
Amazon has a huge share of online purchases. So it's definitely important to have that so your buyers can go there if they need.
Kind of a cheat way to ever know if anybody, it takes a little bit of volume, but if you're running Facebook ads and you go onto Amazon and you start to search your brand, like you start putting that in there, and there is an auto prompt, like, when you're in the search bar and you start typing something, if your brand is in an auto prompt, people are searching for you. Now it takes some volume to get that, but you'll see that all the time on a brand who isn't on Amazon. They have an autofill search query, which means there's a volume of people doing that. So likely one of their competitors is taking sales from them because they'll run ads onto that search query. And then I know we do it for the brands that are on there. If I know our competitor's not, we spend like crazy on their keywords because we do it all the time.
It's like, oh my gosh.
So I'll look up your brand. Some people want to share brands, some people don't. So I don't ever say anything like publicly, but I'll get the brand name, I'll look it up, and if I can see some stuff in the back end, I can tell you if there's any search volume on your brand name on Amazon.
Well, thank you so much
Of
for your
course.
answer.
Yeah, send me
Absolutely.
an email just to make sure we don't forget, and then
Yeah.
we'll look that up, and then let's schedule a time to chat. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's good to see you again.
You too.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Rick, I see you're still here. If we want to answer your question, if you want to chat for a minute. I know Rick asked a question. Did I write it down? And then we have a few questions in the chat. So Thomas is super helpful. Thanks. Glad you're here, Thomas. So happy to have you. Felicia says, really helpful. How do you get around the sensitivity of Facebook for a feminine hygiene brand? Yeah, Felicia, if you'd like to chat, more than happy to answer your questions. She said, her initial question too is building an engaged and profitable community and how to create and scale a product-based subscription program. So all great questions. So feminine hygiene brand, great question. We've never actually ran anything super sensitive, have we, for Facebook? No, I'm trying to think if we ran anything that would have specific guidelines on, like specific like feminine hygiene. What you can do for like these kind of, we've never personally ran advertising for anything like this, but what you can do is think of, what are the other symptoms or the things that they're going through that would need to be addressed, or the conversations that would need to be had. And you can like send them to like a pre-sale article. I don't know if it's like, like period products, you can talk about like different ways to like help with cramping or the things that come along with that time of month, and then send them to pre-sale articles. I know that is helpful for a lot of brands that have sensitive topics that you can't really put your products out on Facebook specifically, but if you send them to an article that helps solve a problem that your product also solves, then you can kind of gather that information, sending them like a free product or a free ebook type of thing, but something that helps with that you can send them to, so you're not advertising that specific product, but the solution to another symptom that they might be going through, if that's helpful. And then okay, Felicia is here. Hi, Felicia.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you. Nice to meet you guys. Yes, it is around the feminine washes, period products. We have teas, we have wipes and stuff like that. But I don't know if there's some wording on my website, but for some reason, whenever we try to run Facebook ads, it's always flagged as, sexual content, but it's not at all. So.
I wouldn't imagine period products or feminine hygiene I feel like that would be something to even like, have you submitted a case to Facebook? Because it's like I really feel like you should be able to advertise that without it being like a sexual topic.
Yeah.
Have you submitted a case to them?
No, I haven't. I've never submitted, because I heard that if you submit too many times, they'll just kick you off completely. So
yeah, no, I would.
Yeah, a lot of times that stuff's just done, like where it's not even ever been looked at by a human necessarily. So, I mean, we sold water bottles and we had got flagged for different things in the past, and they were always
political, and it's like it's
Yeah.
a water bottle.
they were always like erroneous, but I mean, or like looking, and it's hard to say exactly without looking at the ad, but looking at it, and maybe like Amazon, I know in particular has like trigger keywords, if you will, like no matter what context it's used in, it automatically is going to flag a review. So just kind of looking at the messaging of the ad, submitting to see, if they'll approve it, because it very possibly is a mistake. Two, looking at like every word of that ad, to make sure there's no like controversial ones in there or anything that could be construed differently. And three, it would just be an adjustment to the messaging, and it might not seem like a lot, but sometimes just the way you like address it, like she had said, rather than maybe talking about period, talking like a headache or cramps, or like kind of the symptom, not necessarily the thing that you're targeting, if that makes
I
sense.
would also look up if you I think it's library.facebook. It might change the URL. I just have it auto-filled now, but you can look up your competitors' ads. So it's live.com/ad/library, and then you can search your competitors and see what ads they're running. And so look up that and see, like, are there people that are advertising, like what's Tampax doing, or what are those major brands doing? Is it really an issue where you can't advertise these products specifically? And if so, are they really more talking about the symptom or sending people to a pre-sale article or something like that? Or are they able to advertise these products more directly? And if so, then it's just something wrong with your account that might have been misflagged. And I would just reach out and create a case about that. But definitely look into what your competitors are doing. And if they're running ads, and especially if they've been launched for over a month, then you know that they're successful, they're running, it's okay, then you should be able to do that too.
I'll look into that. Thank you.
Let's see, we got Laura, let's see, what was Laura's question? We're struggling to build a community and grow off of Amazon. So yeah, thanks so much for being here, Laura. For community, the biggest thing for us that we did was kind of structure our community as, you know, a 60-day challenge. Specifically, we did a 60-day hydration challenge, and we were able to, you know, attract our customers using this free experience. You didn't have to pay money to join it. You didn't have to buy our products to join it. It was just this free experience where our customers could join, and we would help them with their pains and the pains that they're going through and the benefits that they're looking to achieve, and help them overcome those challenges that they're facing. And this really kind of built a cult out of our 60-day hydration challenge. It was really cool. But I think when you like structure it like that as something of value to attract your ideal customer, you'll be able to have something to go to market with to find your people.
Yeah, thank you. I saw you at the Seller Summit, and I attended that session, and I found it super helpful, and I was really excited to get started on my challenge. And I'm not necessarily concerned. So we sell conversation cards, and we kind of came up with a challenge for couples to kind of we every day we gave them one of our questions. And I thought the idea was great, but then when we actually executed, we didn't get such a great turnout, and we did run Facebook ads, but obviously we missed the mark on something. And so I didn't necessarily have a question for this call. I was kind of just hoping to learn a bit from you guys today. So I don't think the question will exactly be answered, but obviously I'm missing the mark somewhere. And so I hope maybe it can be an offline discussion afterwards, and look to work together to kind of understand a little bit better. And just even hearing you today, it was probably our messaging, because as you said, you really need to nail the Instagram and Facebook ads in your messaging. So we could probably use a bit of work there. But yeah, I find building community it's a tricky piece. Finding the right people and keeping them engaged and building them into customers in the long run obviously takes time. But are you seeing still today, like those challenges, how long are they taking to kind of build and kind of be sustainable for growth?
No, great questions. Yeah, I'm glad that you're here. That's great. That's awesome. You're at Seller Summit. Yeah, so do you already have an email list, or you're just trying to build from the ground up?
Yeah, we have. It's quite small, so we're really heavy on Amazon, and unfortunately, we have no. And I appreciate you saying as well, you don't really know who your customer is, and I do really feel that. So we're kind of shooting in the dark there as well. We have about 4,000 people on our email list, so still quite small. But we only ended up having about 17 people in the challenge, even after running the ads. And even then, we were struggling to get them to engage. We were trying to do lives, only one person attended. So I believe it works. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, no, all great questions. What I was going to suggest initially is sending an email to your list and asking them, like, what would you be interested in? What is the thing that like would help you the most? And just kind of running a survey to them and seeing who has bought your products and what would be the most helpful. That would be the free way to do it, since you already have a list. The next best way would be run some sort of testing like that to really nail down your messaging and see, you know, what are the pains that your customers are going through? What benefits are they trying to achieve, and what challenges are stopping them from achieving that? And really like figuring those things out. And then it doesn't have to be the overall challenge. Like our hydration challenge wasn't just the thing, you know, people wanted confidence and to be healthy, all these things. You can piece together the things that you're seeing resonate with people as you do these tests inside of the, you know, the weekly concept of the challenge. I think you said you were doing daily. I don't think that's why people didn't engage. Your group was just small, but daily can be very overwhelming.
Oh, okay.
Just make it a weekly thing. People will be like, oh, this is just a week, instead of like, if they feel like they have to commit to a daily task, most people feel fatigued by that. So I would move that part to a weekly concept, but then the freeway, survey your customers you have now and see like what would be the best, and then run some sort of testing just to make sure your messaging is really hitting home with the people that you're working with, and then kind of go off that.
Do you sell on your own website now, or is it just primarily Amazon?
So we do sell on our website, but the volume is not like Amazon. We really have a larger presence, or our main traffic is through Amazon. And so, and I agree with what you mentioned before. Most people are searching you on Amazon, looking for your credibility, and I think that's where we're getting a few of our sales trickling on our website. But we really don't have a good understanding of our customer and our customer. It's like your talk at Seller Summit was exactly it. We don't really have a good idea of who our customer is, and I think most Amazon sellers feel this way. So it is just kind of understanding that, and I appreciate your feedback, because I think the concept was great, but maybe that's not what my customer is looking for. So going out and surveying them and seeing really what their pain points are before creating the challenges is probably what I need to do.
Is this, I heard you say conversation cards, is this for like a couple, like I've seen stuff like that?
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say messaging for sure. And you can, package insert in your product on Amazon. Like, I don't know exactly, I'm not sure what brand and stuff, but like even conceptually, like I buy it for her, she buys it for me. And then it's like, see how other couples are interacting, or like get ideas how to utilize these from something along those lines. So you could be getting them into the group or exposure on your website, something along those lines. And we've even went as far on some brands to build in your Amazon storefront. You can't link to your group, or you can't link to it, but like show your community, and it doesn't matter how many people are in there, but you can build it out in the Amazon storefront page, because then one, it gives you more credibility that it is there.
Right.
Two, if they really like, I know I bought date night books or different things, that we do, or challenges or whatever. So it's cool, like murder mystery kind of thing, or really we
Right.
love those. So finding ways that you can get that customer off Amazon, but I would say it all would boil truthfully back down to your message. And I think that would actually be a really good thing. Like, as far as there's certain brands that maybe it'd be hard to piece together, but like, I'm sure she's probably got 100 ideas in her head. If I come up with 10, she comes up with 100. So there's
No, but I think actually I never thought about the storefront, just because Amazon is so sensitive, right? You don't want to get into any issues with taking any of their traffic. But I do think having maybe that presence and doing it in a way that is in alignment with their terms and service and showing that community is a really good idea.
Right. It helps conversion, and it's if people really want to get into that. But yeah, I
I'll
would
do
say
more research.
To be very, very successful that it's probably good to think about the off Amazon marketing, Facebook to your website, and kind of the whole funnel there, utilizing that.
Thank you. It was very helpful.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully we see you at a future seller summit.
I'll be there next year.
Awesome. Exciting. Cool. I think Thomas is the only one we haven't answered that was here live. How you doing, Thomas? Your question was, biggest struggle is understanding how to target the right avatar for our product and measuring the data needed to be successful. It's kind of going back to our messaging, but I don't know if he is. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I just have my kids around me as well.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.
Have you just recently started a brand, or?
So yeah, we opened our shop back around March. We've been really just trying to understand what type of audience group we're trying to reach out to, but I think also how fast to scale into different platforms to build our brand as well, or maybe if we should focus on one or the other to help build the brand as well. We've gained a lot of traction over the last 2 months, but we definitely want to make sure we're doing it the right way and reaching the right audience group too.
Oh, it might have lost it. Oh, there you are.
Sorry. Yeah, we just want to make sure we're still reaching our right audience group to make sure we're profitable, we're hitting our margins we're looking for, because that's part of our problem is we don't know what our true margin is just because we're spending more in marketing than we're hoping comparative to what we were originally projecting for, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I just am noticing time as well. So for everyone, real quick, we'll have this recorded and I'll send you guys a link so you guys can watch this, and please email me if there's anything you guys would have liked cut out before. And then yeah, we'll have some questions in the chat. We'll answer after Thomas. So if you guys want to stay around, we'll hang out for a few more minutes and make sure we get your guys' questions answered. But just wanted to address that real quick in case anyone needed to jump off. But as far as margin goes,
do you sell on Shopify, Thomas? I'm not sure what.
We do a little bit. Our main platform we're on is Etsy right now. We do have Shopify, and then we also have Amazon shop on there as well. But we were familiar with Etsy from a previous brand that we were doing a different product during the pandemic. And so we just went to what we were familiar with versus, diversifying. But yes, we are on Shopify. We can't quite figure it out yet.
Okay. For Shopify specifically, as far as like the data and watching those numbers, stuff like that, there's a program that I like live and die by. I absolutely love it. It's called Lifetimely. I'm not sure if you've heard of it or if you have it, but for the money that you spend, it might be like $47 a month or something like that. And I don't really know, truthfully, but it is phenomenal. And like tagging every single person that's coming in there, and you're tracking like the lifetime value of them. And there's just so much information that you can see. That's probably like the number one thing I would say for the data you need to be successful. It's really hard to give you a 100% answer because I don't know the product. So like sometimes it's just like, for example, if say it's a consumable, right? A lot of maybe brand owners think that people buy this every single month. And in reality, they buy it every 3 months. So you just have to look through and understand not what you want the customer to be, what they really are, as far as that goes. And then understanding, and it could be you need additional product launches. And this is where we fell into with the water bottles, where like we weren't really profitable on day one because it was a $14 water bottle. But like what we had to do is come out with new color variations. So we lose $1, or $2 on that first acquisition. But what we've joked so many times with people is like, we built an entire company to sell straw lids, because like we broke even or lost a little bit of money on the water bottle, but we paid 50 cents for a straw lid that we could sell for $10. And so it was like we had to morph our products off of kind of the ad spend, what we were seeing, and then we added color variations because they would come back and get a new design or color. So some of that is really understanding the exact product, and there's a way to do it for every product. It's hard to say. I hope that makes sense. It's hard to say exactly without doing the product or kind of the customer's journey inside of your brand.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And we have added additional options as well. And we have seen, that's why we've seen some of that success over the last couple months. What was the name of that software again that you said?
Lifetimely.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll definitely utilize that. Take a look at it.
Yeah, it's more powerful than probably 80% of the people who use it actually know how to use it. So you can run a P&L on there, but then you can really like understand your cohort completely. I know, like, if customer come in and their first product was a blue water bottle, I know the lifetime value of them. I know when they reordered, and then we like adjust your acquisition product that way. So we look and we try different acquisition products and say the blue bottle, and on a color, realistically, maybe it's not as important, but like you'll look at it and you say, okay, I wanted that to be my hero product, but really it's not. That's just a good supporting product. So just understanding all of that data and all you can do with it, it becomes extremely, extremely powerful. The one like precursor I'll say, like, be careful when you're adding products, because a lot of times brands, they go into scale mode and then they add a whole bunch of products, and then that kills your cash flow, and you end up either one, not profitable, or two, sometimes even bankrupt, because like you add 1 or 2 or 3 products that do well, and then you go to 10 and you're just not set up to handle that. And if you get behind on cash flow, it can be really, really difficult. And then you have to pull back ads, and the business really can start to unwind from the inside. So just for what that's worth, I mean, go at it methodically and follow the numbers. But that was a mistake we truthfully made in the past, is we really started to get up there and we're like, let's launch 10 products and never into 3 countries at the same time. And that was a horrible idea. But so it was really focusing on it and putting your effort into what is working, and just really methodically building it up and making sure you vet something before you go too deep into it.
Okay, no, that's super helpful. And I think what you said earlier about the messaging, and that's super core to our prod, or anything you advertise, right? But we definitely need to always be evaluating that to make sure we find the right group.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes we got caught up in like, who's the avatar? Is it this person, that person? But really, when you just kind of test and see what's resonating with people, it tells you who it is. Like it's not like you find out you're selling to an older demographic or younger or male or female. It's just like test off of why somebody would actually be buying your product. What are they going through? What are their experiences? And then let that tell you who your avatar really is.
That was something even for me. The biggest thing, you take different marketing courses over the years or do whatever, and it's always like, well, who's your avatar? And they want you to write it down on a worksheet, and then that's what you go out and target. And like you sit there and you're like, I don't know. Like I can make a case of why a 20-year-old female will buy this product, or I can make a case why a 50-year-old male will buy this product for certain things, right? And you struggle to find out the avatar, and it never made sense, and so on and so forth. And then finally, like moving to actually how we find the avatar now, we're like, yeah, we would be worth a lot more money if we would have figured that out a couple years ago. Because it's like you don't sit down and you don't write out, this is who I'm going to sell to, and then you go try to sell to them. It's truthfully the brand that we're talking about, we have now, the age demographic changed by 30 or 40 years whenever we just let it tell us who, and it's changed the entire brand. So yeah, for what that's worth, just keep that in mind.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun. I hope that was super helpful for you guys. If you guys have like any other questions, feel free to email us, Alicia at Of Impact or Shad at Of Impact. Like we said, we're kind of just getting started with the whole Of Impact things concept, and we'll put out like more education and training and stuff. Today's call, we really just wanted to see what problems are entrepreneurs going through and how can we best help you guys and kind of get an idea of that. So this was super helpful for us and we really appreciate your guys' time tonight. Anything else?
Yeah, check out the website. If there's anything you guys have questions, I think probably our next real thing will be like kind of like consulting calls.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
check out the website and see what you guys think. We literally are just kind of seeing it as it's launching and growing. The education's always been there, but now to publish it and put it out there in a way that is consumable and enjoyable and helpful for people. I think anybody that knows, both of us knows that like we're very down to earth. We actually enjoy business. So yeah, it's fun. Things like this I enjoy. And if you guys have any questions or need something that could be helpful, just let us know.
Yeah, send us an email for sure. Well, cool. I appreciate you guys. I'll have this recording up and I'm not sure when exactly we'll publish it, but I'll keep you guys posted and definitely send you guys an email. That way you guys can have this for your reference in the future. And then let's stay in touch. We'd love to hear how you guys are doing in the future. So have a great night, everyone. And thank you so much.
See you guys.